everyone. We now move on to our third session for today, evolving role of the modern BIM manager. The reliance on complex software has been increasing in the construction industry. But how is the role of the BIM manager evolving in the AEC projects? And how is the software supporting the evolution of this role? What about upskilling and the training required to stay on top? How are leading firms using tools such as digital twin, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence to take a whole life cycle approach when tackling building projects? If these are your questions, then this session is for you. This session will explore the traditional BIM management role and how the role is adapting and expanding with innovative tools and technologies. Introducing the session moderator, please welcome Mr. Jose Kurian, Senior Project Advisor, Kerala Infrastructure Investment Fund Board. He is a former Central Engineering Services Officer belonging to the Central Public Works Department, Government of India, and with the Delhi Tourism and Transportation Development Corporation, Government of Delhi. Till recently, he's been working as a team leader, CDM Smith India, consultant to Government of Kerala for creating infrastructure for their additional skill development program. Thank you for joining us today. Introducing and welcoming our panelists who will be joining him for this discussion. Please welcome Mr. Ajit Menon, Managing Director and CEO, BIM Age Consulting. He has more than 20 years of experience in strategic consulting and management in the field of design engineering, infocom technology, BIM, geospatial and satellite imaging technology, and a champion of interoperability among different technologies. Mr. Praveen Sharma, CEO, the BIM Engineers. He is a BIM digital twin and virtual construction technology specialist with more than 20 years of experience in implementing BIM on more than 600 complex projects. Architect Venu Natraj, Director, Vesina Construction. With over 14 years of experience in the field of design, construction, and BIM, Architect Natraj has an MBA in Operations Management and a Master's in Construction Project Management. He is currently pursuing research in the topic of BIM and AI for urban planning. Thank you all for joining us today. Requesting Mr. Kurian to take the discussion further. We have 40 minutes for the discussion and I'm looking forward to an intriguing one. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to everybody, and thank you, Shreyal, for the nice introduction of all the participants in this particular panel discussion, which is one of the basic things that everyone asks questions about. How do you manage? How do you make the change management from the traditional to the latest or the state of the art? This is the issue that we have to discuss, and fortunately, we have some of the most rich, experienced people with us. All of them are experts in their own field, highly technologically trained, as well as they are all having tremendous amount of international experience along with the Indian experience. So this is a very rare combination that a technologist who has got internationally and nationally known and who knows the pulse of this country where the change is happening. We are very fortunate to have them, and we hope that we'll have quite an interesting session and reach certain conclusions by end of this day. Thank you very much for the organizers to bring them in. As is already said, we are to look at the traditional construction management. How do we bring in the change? So this is a challenging question which face 99% of the people in this country, where we are just beginning to employ the new technologies in construction management. So we are, if you look at the situation today, we are still in a manual mode as far as the project management is concerned. From the very, very rudimentary project management with no management, we are entering a state of project management, little scientifically, using certain technologies here and there. We have compartmentalized them into, for example, time management and cost management, quality management, health and safety management, the scope management, and then procurement management, contract management, and risk management, and communication management, human resource management, sustainable management, energy management, and some kind of an integration management. We put them all each in separate cabins, separate bins, and then the project manager, the so-called project manager, try to manage these people and bring out results. So this is the challenge that is being faced, and the entire system, of course, with a little bit of communication process that are available through the computers and as well as some of the WhatsApp groups or some emails, we manage to reach certain conclusions that we manage to plod along. So this is the thing. And from there, we are trying to change into a system which were much more communication oriented, total communication oriented, total data management and reaching results, and which can be conveyed to other people in a very physical way. I mean, we have been discussing everything in terms of numbers, in terms of notes and other things to a visual way. So this is what we are trying to achieve, and it's an extremely difficult engagement. I am very sure that all of you still agree. So I will not take any time because we have got the real experts in front of you and we are waiting to hear from all of you. So I would like their views, and few questions I will ask, but that is only a prodding question, and you can add definitely to the answers that you would like to, so that you bring in what is known to you and what can be useful to the industry. So that's the way I would. And at the end of the that panelist, if somebody wants to chip in from the other two, you can also take in. But as you know, our time is the only constraint. Otherwise, we can go on. So please keep the time in mind, and let us begin this panel discussions. I will raise the first question to Ajit Menon. He is an international expert. He is working abroad, but having a thorough knowledge, a kind of strategy consultant, which is very good to see in a construction industry, as well as a management expert. I would like to ask him a very rudimentary question of how do we change the workforce that we have at the moment with the kind of knowledge that we have just discussed, and bring them into the innovative and technological regime that we are aspiring to go. It's a tremendous difficult thing, but I would like to know from your experience, what will you suggest? How will we manage it? Over to you, Ajit. You can unmute.
Thank you, Josa. I think, and good afternoon, good evening, all. I'm based in Singapore right now, so the question is very valid because we all hear a lot of technology disparity between many companies, projects, etc., and all these things. And today's our role. My discussion is basically the role of the evolving role of the BIM manager, right? Whether we like it or not, now today we are in the fourth industrial revolution, which is being aided by the latest technologies, right? Whether you are a laggard or you are aspiring to be the next generation company, we have seen a lot of new companies are coming up. So there is a technology level adoption happening, whether it is AI, analytics, digitalization, anyway, these are all happening, right? What I put my perspective into three parts. One is industry, company, and the projects. These three are different. The industry, again, we told that, I mean, we know that it's in the industry, fourth industrial revolution is happening. There are a lot of changes is happening in the industry globally. So I'm hopeful that most of the Indian companies are hearing the previous debate. Most of the people are started adopting certain level of technologies and all these things. And the development of information technology, which is, we are talking about connected BIM using cloud-based platform, mobile-based platform, is going to change the way the construction is going to happen in future. So the role of BIM manager will change. The role of BIM manager will change from basic managing a project from one spectrum, or a CAD management, sort of a digital or design management, to a more of an IT-based management. How do you analyze the data? How do you get insight into the projects using the data? So that will be his change. And today we don't have a CTO or CIO in a company, and that's going to come. And the BIM manager is the guy who is going to lead it, right? So saying this one, the BIM manager need to come with a multiple skill set. He will be an engineer, core engineer with the domain skills, but he also need to get a lot of IT skills. What's happening around the world? There are a lot of companies are coming with new technologies, not just Autodesk or Bentley, but the large software enterprises, which is currently in the IT segment, are coming. They are bringing in their computational ability, the financial support, the analytical power. and there are a lot new products are coming in. We heard about open space mentioned in the last discussion. It is an AI-based photo documentation tool which is coming in, which is going to aid the construction and increase the productivity of the construction. Not just the productivity, the predictability of the project, the profitability of the projects. And the whole thing relies on a good manager, whether it is a project manager or a BIM manager. He will be going to define the success of the project for an organization and for a project as well. And that's my take on that.
Thank you, Ajit, and for giving it the reality, what's happening in this particular industry, and what the BIM is going to help us in terms of predictability. At least for the client, that is exactly the word that they want. What's going to happen to my project? That is the concern. And in case I'm going to end up in a loss or a profit. I mean, this is the nuts and bolts of the whole exercise. After we sit together and do it, ultimately the chap who has invested is interested in knowing these two things. What will happen to my project? And so that will be the question. I thought there was some like, so that is okay. That is exactly what the client is looking for and how to take it there. And in the process, you also mentioned the BIM is going to be an all-purpose man. He knows everything. And I don't know how much you can achieve in the short span of 15 or 20 years. A BIM manager is supposed to know everything. But I agree fully 100% with you that the domain experiences and expertise is very key, very necessary to bring the project into a successful one. Without that, it will be very difficult for him to manage the whole, create strategies and manage the project. That is very interesting. And I think arising from what you have discussed, I have a question for I can ask whom? I'll ask Praveen himself because he knows everything. And the very same question, you must have worked in several projects across the world, across India. And where do we stand as far as the predictability of these, I mean, by using how much of predictability from your experience? If you got certain projects can be highlighted, certain numbers can be told to us, we'll be grateful, because this is what everybody, the industry is eager to know, experience of other people. In terms of hard facts, in terms of numbers, if you have. I am very sure, I mean, you may not have. Please be free to take your view. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for asking. See, my perspective is, as my colleague Ajit also mentioned in his initial remarks, that sir, data is going to play the very vital role in this world in coming decades. People talk about the Third World War, Fourth World War, and Fifth World War. Maybe people say it will be over water, or maybe new kind of weapons or bio wars. But one thing that I can assure all of you that data is going to be the next weapon in this world. That's why everybody is asking about, and data has another form of information. The BIM stands for Building Information Modeling, and if you see how we write it, the I stands in the middle. That plays a very vital role. In the Indian context, you have asked that many Indian projects, if you see the history of last 20 years, the new technologies are catching up very fast in India. Another important aspect I would like to highlight that Indians, see, there are two things, India and Indians. Indians as in individuals, we have been propagating these technology for many years, but unfortunately not for our own country. I have 400 engineers, but all of them work for international projects. We have done Heathrow Airport, JFK Airport, and so many nuclear power plants and data center or gigafactory for Tesla or electric cars, but they are all abroad. But now time is changing, and maybe I can see very rapidly we are catching up in technology adoption. In last 20 years, we have been doing BIM, but for global projects. Now it's time to come for the government to change the policy, and I can see that some paradigm shift is happening in last few years. The like Airport Authority of India, if you see the new terminal coming up at Bangalore T2, Bangalore International Airport, Kempegowda, the Greater Hyderabad Rajiv Gandhi International Airport, Delhi Airport T1 extension, or Chennai Airport, or Patna Metro, Lucknow Metro, Delhi Metro, Mumbai Metro, even the Mumbai Ahmedabad High Speed Rail, the bullet train. All of these projects are being done by team using BIM technology. So things are catching up. I can see the future will change very soon, and there are tangible benefits. People see that. Once we started working on the Bangalore International Airport project, they visualize the BIAL, the authority, the management authority. They tried to see the benefit, and after 6 months, they improved and they added to the scope of work. Now they have won the first airport project in India, which are going to be managed digitally using COBE, Construction Operation Building Information Exchange data. So they are adding every single information, whether it's about the manufacturer or guarantee, warranty, facility management, future expansion, extension, renovation, how things will be serviced, managed. Every information is being put into BIM models. And
Thank you.
similarly, the
Sorry,
other
please.
project like Delhi Airport is also another interesting case study. India International Convention Center, the next Pragati Maidan of India, is being developed on BIM. So yes, sir, India is catching up pretty fast.
Thank you, Praveen, and that is very nice to know that is happening. But it is happening in major projects. I mean, in which the international expertise or international involvement is also there, and the investment is of that order. But we are looking at also the middle level projects, government projects, as well as the average project that should happen, that's happening across the country. And one of the areas in which we have to be, to start rather than just rushing into this one for the smaller guys would be the design and planning and design stage. So this is an issue on which that is the right place to start, the conception of a project and the design phase and the planning phase. If you are able to start and grow, many people feel that may be the right thing to grow for a small or a medium consulting office or a practice. So that is one thing. We have our architect who has got a tremendous experience as a planner and designer. Is an architect of repute himself. I just want to know what's your views on this. Want to start, where to start, and how to start.
I think Kurian sir, you have rightly mentioned the government of India and the government establishments are trying to mandate BIM implementation in large scale projects. But we are seeing this lag when it comes to small scale and medium scale projects or adoption of BIM in those scale projects, because the clients possibly don't see a tangible benefit directly from implementing BIM for their projects. However, it is changing now. Traditionally, what used to happen, the conceptual or the design team would completely do a schematic or a single line sketch drawing. And then after all that is done, when you have to do a construction documentation set, that's when you would call BIM engineers and ask them to start doing the 3D model. Yeah, because their perception lies or limits them only to that aspect. They think BIM is only for 3D modeling. But now when we are showing them the data, when we show them how this can also help them with their facility management, this can also help them with their later stage production, or how it can reduce the design process itself when they are implementing it right from starting stage or conceptual stage, there are clients who are changing. And we are seeing this happening with one single line, if I may say so, the single version of truth, the philosophy of single version of truth, where multiple consultants feel and see the benefit of working on a single model and being able to deliver a project faster with lesser problems happening at a later stage in the project, even if it's a smaller scale project.
Okay, thank you, Venu. That was nice of you to, when real hard facts. This is what's happening in a small area where we have to start growing and make a beginning and start growing. Your advice would help. And again, we'll come back to, of course, Ajit Menon once more on the technologies that are available and what will be the way to introduce. When we got all kinds of technologies, as we have mentioned in the title of this itself, that we want to talk about the digital twin and VR and AI and so many things. I would like to hear from all the three of you on how much and how far we can start and proceed. I think Ajit can start, and but all the three are experts in this one. I would like all the three to chip in.
Okay. I'll take it from what Venu stopped, where he says that when the BIM model is being get to use during the facility management, the interest start increasing with the owners, developers, etc. Right? That's exactly what the BIM is all about. The end in mind, of the building, right? Whether we are going to. There are a lot of technology coming in to help us right now. The thing is, today our main discussion is how we change the role of a BIM manager to adopt all these technologies, whether they are skilled. When I talked first, I was talking about he need to know everything. He need to know the domain. He need to know the IT. He need to know AI. He need to know what is happening in the things. Is one person can do it, or is it a team of people which is going to do it? Right. That's the major question we need to ask. There are a lot of technologies coming in, which is too much overwhelming to most of the people.
Yeah.
Right. Even if you look at a one BIM manager, right. He may not know, like he may know a BIM authoring tool, or maybe CDE, a common data environment, he knows. But whether he knows how to do a computational BIM part of it, whether he need to do the coding part of it, right? So these are all the very big challenges which you are going to face moving forward. Again, the concept of BIM manager need to change from BIM manager to BIM management. It should be a team of people supporting the BIM manager, an IT person, a 4D expert, a 5D expert, a computational BIM expert, right? And who will always validate what's the technology good for their projects. All these things need to be in one. They need to know the domain. If you are doing a project, an architect need to know what's going on. A civil engineer is the one who is going to lead it. It's not the IT guys, because he probably may not know the domain part of it.
Thank you, Ajit. Praveen, any views on this?
Yes, sir.
On creating a team instead of a person. That is what
definitely, sir. It's very important. You see, the scope of work is being
it's
so
enormous.
vast, from the planning to design to coordination, cost management, project management, handover. So, of course, definitely. But with the help of technology, yes, people are trying to manage with them, because manpower in India is now getting costlier. If you compare to 2 decades back, even the trained manpower, people, the salary expectation, the lifestyle, the structures, our expectations are getting higher. So that's why we are using technology to replace some of the manual tasks. Like in banking, we have replaced the manual register now with the machines. You don't have to go to bank and talk to people. You just go to machine and take the money out of it. Similarly, in BIM also, like Ajit mentioned, there are requirement of different profiles. Somebody has to know the coding, maybe how to write C++, C hash and DBase and .NET languages. Somebody should know how the project management, the Gantt chart works. And one person cannot know all these things, from project management to construction management to planning, procurement, quantity surveying, design aspect, calculation, compliance with the local government or municipal guidelines. So definitely it's a good idea to have a proper team which cater to the project requirement from start to finish.
Thank you, Praveen. That is very, very practical. That is the way we have to proceed, because we have to have a team. I mean, that's a very good idea which has come out, and each of the organization will have to create a core team. I mean, cannot be just done by one man or one line of expertise. It has to be a team. I would also like to hear from Venu, including how do we create this team? How do we catch them? How do we train them? How do they bring them up and capable managers who can manage each one of the roles that we have mentioned?
Yeah. Kurian, sir, before answering the question on training, learning and development, I would also like to add on to what Ajit and Praveen are mentioning.
Yeah.
What I foresee, the role of BIM managers or BIM management would move or get aligned more towards the project management of a project or the project management team, and their role will become more of integration and interface management between different data sets or tools, rather than being particular experts of certain tools. And I would also foresee this, that they would become the experts of UI, UX, and there will be more of how I can tell that they'll be more of these interface managers rather than purely just a BIM tool manager. Coming to the question of learning and development, we see that a lot of emphasis is placed on classroom type of training or classroom module type of training, where People come to a classroom, go through a certain set of course related to a particular tool, and then they take up a online or a skill assessment test, something like Knowledge Smart or Test Gorilla or Linda. And based on that score, we try to assess, or we assess them, saying that they are capable of BIM or not. But that's only purely to do with the tool rather than the capability or understanding of the concept of BIM. Here, I think classroom trainings fail. What the industry is doing now and should be doing in the future is like, we are all adults. We have a very poor memory retention span now. If we see theory-based classes wouldn't make us remember things well. We would remember them well when we are doing it on a project, or at least on a parallel project, and we are seeing or explaining or experiencing the problems firsthand. That's when the learning becomes deeper, and we tend to remember and use it better for projects. There was a research recently which said adults cannot remember something which is written for more than 9 hours at a stretch. We need to re-engage or recontact with the practical part of it to be able to remember it and recollect it for longer. So the learning and development space is seeing a huge shift, at least in the large organizations and even in the small organizations, where people are working on projects and getting the skills needed to be able to deliver BIM projects better.
Thank you, Venu. And that brings us to the important question: where do we catch them? I mean, which you catch them on the way, middle of the project, or middle of the project is people who are already experienced sufficiently in the domain, and they have been managing only with that manual skills, and or you catch them young, take from the college and train them and upscale them into this one. That is Venu's view on this. In continuation,
I think Praveen sir rightly mentioned sometime back that the skills and skilled workers have become quite expensive now, and it wouldn't really be sustainable to get mid-level managers or senior managers to train and then work. I think ideally they should start from the educational level itself. We are seeing a lot of curriculum push happening in the direction of BIM, where I myself have worked on construction project management curriculum recently for VTU. And as part of CPM course, we instilled BIM into the coursework. We wanted students to be able to learn, know how the BIM principles work, and be able to be ready for the market. And I think those are the people who will be more adapt to change. They'll be better at understanding the conceptual level of BIM and also apply it to projects without inhibition of the traditional way of working, which we see with the senior people.
Okay, Praveen, since he is quoting you, I think you can explain a little more. The question or the issue that we have to discuss is how to create this expertise in an organization which is existing and they are fairly managing their projects well. And there is a digital transformation is required. They feel it is required and they feel advantage is there. So how do we make the change, or as Ajit has mentioned, how do you create that management in an existing organization from a traditional one to a digital one?
Right, sir. See, as Venu mentioned, we have to make a blend or a mix of experience versus talent.
Correct.
So definitely, sir, starting from colleges and universities, if we can add these things to their curriculum, definitely that will make a new generation. But generation changes do not happen overnight. So we have to utilize the experience available within our design and construction offices. Maybe we can upgrade them. There will be reluctance. We can categorize. Some of the people may not be very convenient or open to change. Some of them will adopt changes. For example, my father has adopted mobile phone, my mother has not. So that happens. So similarly, sir, we can push people to adopt new technology like virtual constructions and digital twins, but some of them will adopt it, and then of course we can create a whole new generation out of universities and colleges. Venu mentioned very important aspects, are rather than classroom or boardroom training. Yeah. I can say 2 + 2 is 4, but in construction industry it's never happened. 2 + 2 is never 4. So they have to learn the aspect. We have to bring them on site, give them chance to see how construction works, from planning to design to construction to facility management.
Correct. Absolutely.
They should do it in real life.
Yeah. So that I'll ask you one more question in that case, since you mentioned what is happening in the what is happening and what is going to happen? That what's your feel, the touch and feel of what's going to the construction industry in the what is happening now and what's going to happen in the next say 10 years or 25 years?
Unfortunately,
I mean, you are not a soothsayer.
Right, sir. We have been dividing our beloved country into two parts, and always urban India and rural India.
Absolutely correct.
Similarly, the education system also have two level of adoption. If you see during the pandemic, in urban areas, all people are doing class from Zoom meetings and MS Teams. All fine. If you go to villages, 99% of them are not going to school for last 1.5 years. They are not techno savvy. They don't have those technologies available. The iPad or phones or internet connections is not available. That's the reality. Similarly, in education also, sir, there are colleges like I cannot name. I don't want to name them, but the brand which private universities, large institutes, they have all the facilities to train people to the cutting edge technologies. But there are rural villages or government colleges, we do not have those facilities. Unless we bring them to the same level of technology adoption, of course, it will be a paradigm shift, and then there will be a mismatch between two people. One coming from a very rural background with a very traditional technology approach, and one from the very urban area, Mumbai, Delhi, or Bangalore, or Kochi, and they have a very different approach of things in our industry.
That's right. That's right. Ajit, you got anything to chip in on this issue? Because this is one of the most important issues. I would like to know, are we going in the right direction from your interaction with the Indian industry, from sitting, of course, in Singapore?
No, I think
what do you feel? Are we going in the right direction, or we have to change gears?
So Joseph, the thing is, I've been interacting with most of the Indian companies' education systems a lot. And skill development is one of the key things which we are very much interested in. My previous engagement, I was with Autodesk. I was looking after the skill enhancement of many colleges in India as well at the time. So one thing which we already put, I mean, Praveen has put, there is a disparity in all the education, which I agree that. One thing which we always say that is a design-centric education. A design-centric education is nothing but not on design, but to integrate a project-based education into your civil engineering course or an architectural course, so that you understand you want to do a project at the end of your course, but you define what to learn to reach that. For example, you need to do I'm going to design a building, I'm going to do something. You need to learn BIM, you need to do computational BIM, you need to do all the things. So that's what the design-centric education. So we have been talking about design-centric education to many organizations, many schools in India and abroad as well. Some of them are implemented as well, right? That is one thing. Two is, again, we do have a different type of education. One is degree courses, diploma, ITI, etc., right? And many states, if you look at in India, also need to have a skill enhancement. The skill enhancement, how do we do that skill enhancement, right? Again, what Venu says that we cannot go into a normal training institute to get trained on tools, because they will not learn, they will not apply it. So it has to be integrated with the projects. Each states have been doing it, and it has to be developed from that that level where the students are learning how to do the projects or how to approach a projects, right? So we do have tier 1 colleges, we do have tier 2 colleges, we have diploma, we have ITIs. There are different skill sets we get come out of from them, because even in construction we need multiple skill set. It may not be BIM, but if you are teaching somebody in the school, it may not be BIM, but they will understand the concept of BIM when they get into a trade job, right? While installing something, they understand the concept when they go into the BIM. And so that is the key thing. So that is the one which we need to do it in India, or any other part where the adoption is not there, to make sure that we use this latest technology to make, again, I'm talking about productivity, predictability, profitability of a project.
Thank you very much. And that's a very interesting thing, and is one of the challenging things, especially when we discuss with the educators of our country. Many of the institutes, even the major, some of the most prominent institutions, project management is even not taught. I mean, it happens in very few institutions, but maybe recently started. A project management as a topic is not discussed while you are in the undergraduate level. That is unfortunate. And from there, we have to jump into something on a project-based discussion. So if you discuss with the teachers, many times they don't agree, because unless you have the basic sciences strong in you, you will not go anywhere. So that is why we'll have to take it out of the places and give them separate skill set elsewhere, maybe outside this college platform, because the colleges' intentions have to teach both design, both basic science. I mean, how can it be taken out? Without that, you cannot be straight away catapulted into a BIM engineer or a BIM manager. That's not correct. So they have that, there is dichotomy in the system, but it's probably, I don't know, that's what I feel. Maybe we can start imparting additional skill set outside or along with outside the curricula, or as an addition to the curricula, something that the academia will have to discuss and come back to us. I think this time it has been a very, extremely interesting experience, three of you having here, but I will still take 2 minutes. You got any final message to be given to the industry? One, just a small message, 30 seconds each, 3 people. I will take it, Shayal, I will take only a minute.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
I'll
Start with Praveen. Yeah.
Yeah, like Ajit mentioned, sir, very quickly I can tell you, when you see, let me take in drawing, if you show this drawing to any of the students in colleges and universities, they should not see this as red, green and blue lines. They should visualize that as an element. They are column, beam, duct, roll, door, window, roof, ceiling. They are not lines. But what is happening now, whenever we give it to students, they see it as a drawing or a piece of lines. That's not, if they visualize in 3D, they think 3D, their next generation will start thinking about advanced technology like BIM.
Thank you.
That we need to start from the beginning. Yes.
Okay, Ajit.
So I think since we are talking about the role of BIM manager or the BIM people or anything, or for the strategic implementation or the project-based implementation, my one thing is, forget about the title. It is less important. The people who bring in the expertise, creativity, and technical rigor in your work is the guys which you are looking at, is the one which they need to build it up, is our responsibility as the company, myself or Praveen, Venu, and yourself, sir, to bring up these people into the next level, so that we have a much better, we are much suitable, much ready for the industrial revolution, the fourth point.
Venu, last word.
Yes, sir. I think you said wish from the industry, right? So I would like to have a real wish from the industry. I don't think we should be seeing BIM team as a separate standalone vertical in the project anymore.
Yeah.
They should be treated as a part of the project, right from the inception stage till the project lifecycle ends. And that is where my wish ends, because once they become a part of the team, they are part of the management, they are part of the decision-making committee, and they are not necessarily the toothless tiger of the team.
Thank you. I mean, let's conclude it here. It has been a great session. Real experts who have got wide experience in their own fields as well as international experience, knows the situation in this country, have given their advice. I'm very sure that when people would have enjoyed it. I don't know whether there are any questions, Shreyal.
Yes, we do have questions from our viewers. We are very short on time, but if I can quickly just take up like 1 or 2 questions from whatever we have in, but we'll try to respond it in the most, brief and concise manner possible. So one question that we have is that BIM has been considered for bigger projects, but is it suitable and cost effective for smaller projects too?
Who wants to take it?
We need to define what is the small projects they are looking at, right? I mean, Praveen, the small projects can be anything.
Single family home.
Yeah, it can
or
be
a guard room, or a guard room on the toll plaza.
I can quickly say before, Praveen, I say basically anything above 5,000 square meter, we have seen certain benefit coming into that one, right?
Okay.
If you look at in Singapore, we have mandated anything projects above 5,000 square meter, you need to do BIM because there's a productivity benefit in that one. Praveen, over to you.
Because there's cost is also involved in implementing it.
Right.
Praveen, you have anything to say? Otherwise, we go to the next question.
Yes, I just very simply say to people, if you are asking me why BIM, I am asking why CAD or why computer. If you are hiring an architect, will you hire an architect who does not know computer and will still have pencil and paper? The answer is no. And why not BIM? If you are using technology, why not use the advanced technology? That is the simple answer.
Okay, Shreyal, go to
I'll take
one.
the last question here. Quite often, conflicts arise between the stakeholders, making it difficult to carry out BIM-led work. So, speaking of the evolving role of a modern BIM manager, could it include resolving such conflicts, and how can the stakeholders be approached in such a given scenario?
I think Venu can take it.
Yes, as I mentioned some time back, I foresee that BIM team would eventually become a part of the project management team, and they would be leading the project management aspect, which would involve your contract and conflict management part.
Absolutely right. To avoid collision, hug each other. I mean, that's the best way. That's the best way. With that, I will conclude. I must thank profusely our members of this panel, Ajit Menon, Praveen Sharma, and Venu. They have put in their time. I mean, they are all seriously working and starved of time, unlike me. So thank you very much for joining us and giving your advice. And thank you, Shreyal, for giving us a chance, and thank the organizers once more.
Yes. Once again, I would like to thank all the panelists, and thank you, Mr. Kurian, as well, for leading this session for us and covering all the aspects, with all the insights from the panelists came because you led it that way also. So thank you so much, the entire panel. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, yes, this brings us to the end of today's virtual gathering. But the Construction Technology Summit presented by Bentley Systems continues tomorrow as well. While today's sessions focused on smart design with BIM, the discussions tomorrow will focus on innovation in construction equipment. Mr. Nitesh Jain, the director of CRISIL, in his keynote address, will be talking about the construction equipment market in India during and post-pandemic. The panels tomorrow will discuss the need to gear up for national infrastructure pipeline with innovation in construction equipment, most compelling tech interventions, along with we're going to have presentations on extreme project management-led construction equipment and optimizing fuel efficiency. Undoubtedly, we look forward to all of you joining us tomorrow as well. Day 2 will commence at 1:30 p.m. and conclude at 5:30 p.m. I would like to thank all our panelists once again for sharing such great insights today. It was indeed an absolute pleasure hearing from each and every one of you. I would also like to thank our viewers for all your support, presence, your questions that came in at the Construction Technology Summit Day 1. Kudos to our dedicated team for putting this event together. The Construction Technology Summit is organized by ASAP Info Global Group in association with First Construction Council and Construction World. The 2-day summit is presented by Bentley Systems, design and technology partner Autodesk India, and supporting partner India BIM Association. As we come to the end of day 1, here's looking forward to welcoming you all for an informative, interesting, and insightful day 2. Thank you once again and have a lovely evening.